time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, FSN Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Chicago Cubs. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Friday night to you and a very happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. The Dodgers and the Cubs opening up a three-game series. The Cubs have done well against the Dodgers of late here at Dodger Stadium. In fact, they've won 6 of the last 7 meetings going back to 2004. The Cubs come in here 6 games behind Milwaukee. They had a bad series in San Diego, and the Dodgers maintain a 1-game lead over the Padres. Opening it up, Derek Lowe, he'll be going against Ted Lilly. Lowe is 4-5, 1-1 lifetime against the Cubs. He did pitch extremely well, but had no decision in a game last year against Chicago. Ted Lilly is a fella who originally signed his professional contract with the Dodgers. We'll get to the ball game. We'll have it all coming up for you right after this.
Minutes away from baseball, Friday night style here at Dodger Stadium. The Cubbies in town for a 3-game set against the first place Los Angeles Dodgers. Hello again, everybody, with Steve Lyons, Kevin Kennedy. I'm Patrick O'Neill. Time for the keys to the game after a day off. Try to jump on them early, Steve.
Yeah, you know, and I think really what has to happen today is to have that middle of the order be productive. I mean, you still have to get the guys at the top of the order to get on base. But with Lilly, the left-hander, going, that negates the running game just a little bit. It's a little tougher to get a jump on them. So if they get on, maybe they're going to be a little bit more station to station. So it means that the guys in the middle of the order have to swing the bat tonight.
And for me, unlike the Brewers, where they have a great bullpen at the end with Francisco Cordero, this bullpen for the Cubs is 14th in the National League, not getting the job done. It's not that they're getting hit very hard. Main guys down there, some veteran guys like Scott Air, Bobby Howard, even Dempster, they walk a lot of guys. And, you know, the batting average against is not that high, but they put a lot of men on base. And I think if the Dodgers get men on base against them late in the game, they got a chance to win because they have the speed.
Yeah, and one thing Grady told me before the game, hey, just get a lead, get it to that bullpen with Brazoban back. It's lights out. Here's what's coming up after the game. We will be here for Dodgers Live, post-game style. Kennedy's Confidential. Kevin Kennedy will hit our studio in Los Angeles. We'll get a little insight. Grady Little Part 2, talking about his trips around Los Angeles and riding that motorcycle. We'll also go around the MLB, catch up with everything that's happening in Major League Baseball. We'll see you after the game, everybody.
Dodger Baseball on FSN Prime Ticket is brought to you by Gatorade. It's in the MLB. Is it in you? By Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. And by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant night to you wherever you may be. The Dodgers at home on this Memorial Day holiday weekend and entertaining the Chicago Cubs. A crowd somewhere over 40,000 taking it in tonight, and the prospects of a good one with Derek Lowe going against Ted Lilly. The Cubs must feel very much at home here at Dodger Stadium. Since 2004, the Cubs have won 6 of the last 7 games against the Dodgers here at Dodger Stadium. However, the Dodgers are getting well at home, and Lou Piniella brings in a ball club that finds itself 6 games behind Milwaukee. The Dodgers 1 game in front of San Diego. For Lou Piniella, here are the names on his card. Alfonso Soriano to open up, then Mark DeRosa at second, and LeBron Lee. Derek Lee will be at first base. You have Aramis Ramirez at third, Cliff Floyd in right field, and Michael Barrett behind the plate. Jock Jones in center. Cesar Izturis returning to his old digs. He'll be at shortstop, hitting 8th, and Ted Lilly on the mound. And Lilly was first signed by the Dodgers. Meanwhile, Derek Lowe, 4 wins, 5 losses, turning in 2 complete games so far this year, losing both of them, and he is 1-1 lifetime with the Cubs. Last year, he had a strong 7 innings against them, but he was not involved in the decision. Just to set the stage, couple of ball games, The Astros are leading the D-backs 1-0, bottom of the fourth. The Padres are leading the Brewers 1-0 in the second inning. That's Dave Bush and Greg Maddux. And the Giants leading the Rockies 2-0, bottom of the first inning. Bonds hit into a double play, but a run scored, and Ray Durham doubled in the other. That game is Jason Hirsch and Matt Cain. So it's the Dodgers and the Cubs. A tremendous rivalry. So much of a rivalry, indeed, it's in dispute. The Cubs say they have played the Dodgers 2,009 times. The Dodgers say they have played each other 2,010. And Alfonso Soriano checks in at the plate. When Soriano is hitting leadoff, he's hit 306. When he hits in the number 3 slot, 179. So he's hitting cleanup and moves up to the very top of the list as he fouls it away. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Alfonso Soriano. Soriano hitting .288, 4 home runs. They're waiting for him to break loose. After all, last year he had 46 and he played in a huge ballpark, RFK Stadium. The next one is swung on and missed, 1-2. Of his 46 home runs last year, Soriano hit 24 at home, and that RFK Stadium doesn't compare to tiny Wrigley Field. In fact, there were 41 more home runs hit at Wrigley. He chases a bad ball, a slider down and away, and that will do it for Alfonso Soriano. So 1 out in the first inning. We'll set the Dodgers defensively with the leather. Garcia, Parra, and Kent. Furcal and Abreu. Gonzalez, Pierre, and Diepier. Martin behind the plate. And Derek Lowe on the mound. Temperature at the start of the ball game, 61 degrees. And Mark DeRosa checking in, hitting .256, playing second base. Right-hand batter takes a strike. And the count 0-1. So beginning the game with a strikeout. Derek Lowe trying to balance his books at 4 and 5. A little chopper to third. Abreu gloves, fires and gets him. So DeRosa out of there before you could say he was out of Passaic, New Jersey, and the University of Pennsylvania. The batter now will be Derek Lee. 1 year ago in April, Derek Lee playing first base. There was a collision with Rafael Furcal, and it knocked Derek out for 2 months. He is back and playing very well, hitting .370, and I'm sure both Furcal and Lee remember very well. The sinker is low, ball 1. Lee had reached base safely in every game until the 11th of May. Then he had a 7-game absence with neck spasms. He takes a pitch on the corner for a strike, and the count 1-1. So Big Derek is back, hitting .370, 3 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Now the next pitch to the big right-hand batter is down and away, ball 2, 2-1. One of the things that Derek Lee is doing with 2 out, he is hitting .400. Well, he is 2 out right now. So Lee waiting, moving that bat back and forth. And the big pitch to Derek is swung on, hard ground ball, smothered by Kent. Gets up, throws, and gets him on a close play. So Jeff Kent takes a base hit away from Derek Lee. The Cubs go out in order, and at the end of half an inning, Cubs nothing, Dodgers coming up. Derek Lowe retires this side in order, and for a guy who averages more than 3 ground balls for every fly ball, he showed signs of being the Derek Lowe with those numbers, getting a strikeout and 2 ground balls. Here is the Dodger lineup with Rafael Furcal and Juan Pierre, then Nomar, followed by Kent and Martin. Gonzalez with the rookie Tony Abreu batting 7th, Andre Ethier in right field hitting 8th, and Derek Lowe on the mound. On the mound for the Cubs, Ted Lilly from Lomita and lives in Fresno. He was signed by the Dodgers. He had gone to Fresno Community College, and he passed up a scholarship to Cal State Fullerton when he signed with the Dodgers back in 1996. Dodgers are 8-4 against left-hand starters, and Rafael Furcal is hitting .367 to lead the pack. So Lilly into the windup. Ted ready and deals. First ball is popped up foul. Lee coming over to the box seats, and the big guy makes the catch for the out. So Furcal didn't hang around, fouls out, and makes the long walk back to the dugout. And the batter will be Juan Pierre.
Center fielder, number 9, Juan Pierre.
So Juan Pierre coming up with one out, bottom of the first. Ted Lilly is 3-0 personally in his last 5 starts, and Pierre checks in with a .270 batting average. One of the bigger differences between the Cubs and the Dodgers would be one-run games. And left-hander Lilly delivers, and the first pitch is low, ball 1. The Dodgers are 9-4 in one-run games. Lou Pinella's club 2-10. And the 1-0 pitch on the way is fouled away. And of course, when you get down to one-run games, you have to feel it's in the hands of the bullpen. Well, the Cubs bullpen is hurting. The pen collectively is 3-11. They've blown 7 saves. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Pierre a nubber up along first. Lilly shovels it with his glove to lead just in time. So Ted Lilly knew that he couldn't pick the ball up and throw, and he just shoveled it and got there in time to beat the speedy Juan Pierre. Nice play. And we have 2 down in the first inning with Nomar coming up. So Ted Lilly makes a good play, and Derek Lee scooping the ball out of the dirt and then getting out of the way. So 2 down, and Nomar coming up. Among other things in this series, you're going to be looking at 2 first basemen who have been dynamite with runners in scoring position. And Lilly ready and delivers, and the fastball is fouled back. Derek Lee is hitting .442 with runners in scoring position, and Nomar is hitting .435. 0-1 the count. Lilly into the windup, left-hander deals high and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. So Nomar hitting .282, 1 home run, 27 runs batted in. Lilly works from the third base side of the rubber, and the left-hander flips the next one outside. 2-1. Ted Lilly is quite a battler. About 5-6 years ago, he got in trouble pitching against the Angels. 2-1 pitch is whacked to left on the dead run to play it on a bounce of Soriano, and Nomar's going for 2 when the ball gets away, and he's into second base easily. So Garciaparra, line drive into left field for the base hit. Soriano had a little trouble with it, and Nomar breezing into second base standing. So Nomar hitting one down around the knees. Over to get the ball. Soriano bent down and went right by his glove. He never touched it. So he played that into a double. And here is Jeff Kent. So Soriano, of course, the world knows he was a second baseman. Then they moved him to the outfield. And the first time they told him to go to the outfield, he refused. You remember the big story. But now he's happy to be out there. It's going to be an error now, which is a good call, as Jeff Kent takes high, ball 1, 1-0. So Garciaparra really only had a single, and it was played into the extra base by Soriano. So Alfonso draws the error. 2 down. Garciaparra at second. No score in the first inning, and Jeff Kent trying to pick him up. Kent hitting .355 against left-handers, and the pitch of the plate swung on and missed. Now they put up on the scoreboard correction double. Well, okay, whatever you want. The world will little note nor long remember what happened on that ball in the left field corner. You can bet Soriano will remember, until he gets back to the dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Jeff Kent. Ted Lilly out of a stretch. Ted ready, comes back with a fastball inside, ball 2. Lilly is 6'1", 190, 31 years old. You may remember in a rhubarb with the Angels. He hit Scott Spezio in the helmet with his first pitch. It was a purpose pitch. Kent fouls one into the Cub dugout. Earlier, Anaheim's Ramon Ortiz hit Derek Jeter, and that foul ball almost got Sweet Lou. 2-2 the count. In fact, there was a big rhubarb going on over the exchange of hit batters, and Lilly wound up in trouble. The pitch to Kent low, gets away from Barrett for the moment. Also, Ted Lilly is that much of a competitor. A couple of years ago, a pit bull attacked one of his dogs, and he got in the middle of the fight. He had to get into the dog's mouth, opened up his jaws, and get both hands to pull the dog off his dog. He was bitten, but not severely. 3-2 pitch on the way is high and inside, ball 4. So the Dodgers now have runners at first and second with 2 out, and Russell Martin coming up. Martin is hitting .359 against left-hand pitching, and as you no doubt know, he is the leader for the Dodgers in RBIs. As he walks up to the plate right now, Russell has 32 RBIs, 3 home runs, tied his major league career high with 4 ribbies on Wednesday. So Lilly in a first inning jam out of a stretch, now ready and deals, and Martin takes on the outside corner for a strike, and the count 0-1. Martin has never faced Lilly, vice versa. Garciaparra at second, Kent at first, 2 down, first inning, no score. Now the strike 1 pitch, big curveball that drops in there. 0-2 the count. Lilly has a dandy. So no balls and 2 strikes. Where you have a lot of ground balls when Derek Lowe pitches, you usually get a lot of fly balls when Ted Lilly pitches. So let's see. 0-2 the count to Martin. Left-hander ready, fastball fouled away off first, out of play. So Russell Martin third on the Dodgers in hitting against left-handers. Furcal is first, Luis Gonzalez is second, and then Martin. Right behind him is Kent, and then Olmedo signs. Lilly out of his stretch. Another look at his runners, and with 2 out, the strike 2 curveball is hit into center for a base hit. Charging it is Jacques Jones. The throw is up the line. Scoring is Garciaparra, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. A no ball 2 strike curveball that was a hanger right over the plate, and Lou Piniella, who is already annoyed over the fact his club is 6 games back, had to be annoyed over the careless way Soriano went after the ball hit by Garciaparra, and now the 0-2 curveball banged into center, and the Dodgers take a lead. One reason, of course, why the Dodgers are in first place and the Cubs are 6 games back. So Russell Martin comes up with his 33rd run batted in. Happy Garciaparra in the dugout. Kent at second, Martin at first, and here now is Luis Gonzalez hitting .361 against left-handers. Lilly's fastball is low, ball 1. Gonzo has 5 home runs. 3 of them have been hit against left-hand pitching. Lilly, by the way, has not allowed a home run to a left-handed batter. The 1-0 pitch on the way is swung on line to right. Coming up forward is Cliff Floyd to bag it, and that's that. So Gonzalez lines out, but the damage is done. The Dodgers pick up a run, knocked in by Russell Martin, and lead 1-0. Nomar Garciaparra takes the extra base on a careless play by Soriano, and he is cashed in on the base hit by Russell Martin, and the Dodgers lead 1-0 in the second inning. Now Ramirez, Floyd, and Barrett, and the first pitch hit on the ground to the left of Furcal, who throws to first to get Ramirez easily. So 1 away, and Cliff Floyd coming up.
For the Cubs, right fielder, number 50.
So Ramirez didn't hang around. Floyd coming up hitting .280, has 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Dodgers leading 1-0 as Cliff Floyd, who had a serious injury when he was playing first base for Montreal. It was brought to mind when Juan Pierre ran into the arm and hand of Prince Fielder the other night. Floyd takes off the plate, ball 1-0. Floyd was born in Chicago, so he has come home, although he does live in Florida. He went to Thornwood High School in Chicago, and Cliff takes low. 2 balls and no strikes. Cliff is 6'4" and 240. 34 years old. He'd be 35 in December. And originally came up with the Expos back in 1993. 2-0 pitch to the big left-hand hitter, and he takes low, ball 3, 3-0. In looking at Derek Lowe and Cliff Floyd, Floyd is 2 for 4 against him in the past. Now the 3-0 pitch on the way, and Floyd takes a strike, 3-1. With runners in scoring position, Floyd has been tearing it up. Now hitting .419. Low ready in the 3-1 pitch, and Cliff swings, fouls it back, and that got a little bit of Kermit Danley, the plate umpire. Kerwin shakes it off, and Martin does what umpires do for catchers. In other words, Martin goes out to talk to Lowe, letting Danley get rid of that lick on the leg. A lot of times when a catcher takes one, then the umpire will clean off home plate or do anything to consume a little time. Danley, okay, but that had to hurt. He's been umpiring over 10 years. Went to school at San Diego State, played baseball, and was a first-team All-American down there. Teammate of Tony Gwynn. All right, 3-2 the count to Cliff Floyd, in and out of the box. Floyd has hit as many as 34 home runs. He did that 2 years ago for the Mets. The pitch of the big left-hand hitter is low, ball 4. So a 1-out walk to Floyd, and that will bring up Michael Barrett.
Catcher, number 8, Michael Barrett.
Michael Barrett, definitely a home run threat. He was in an 0 for 12 slump and then came out of that with a key base hit in San Diego. He also leads all National League catchers with 7 home runs. And you know, in the last 5 years, only 5 major league catchers have hit at least 10 home runs. And the first 4 are the usual. That's a strike, 0-1. You know, Piazza, Posada, Rodriguez, and Baratek. But the other one, Michael Barrett. Right-hand batter waiting, 0-1 to count. Barrett earlier was confused. They didn't know whether they were going to make him a third baseman or a catcher. He hits one foul into the stands, out of play. He was originally signed by the Expos, and when Felipe Alou was the manager, Felipe moved him from catcher to third and made a statement saying he will never wear the catching gear again. Here's Michael hitting .252, 7 home runs, 24 runs batted in. The strike 2 pitch on the way is a sinker low and inside, ball 1. Barrett is 6'3", 210. Lowe is even bigger than that. 1 out, 2nd inning. Dodgers lead 1-0. The 1-2 pitch to Michael Barrett. Derek Lowe deals on the inside corner. Good sinker to get him. And down goes Barrett. That would be strikeout number 2 for Derek Lowe.
Fielder, number 11, Jock Jones.
So 2 down. Floyd hanging around at first, and Jock Jones will be coming up. Jock Jones playing center field for the Cubs. 2 out, 2nd inning. Dodgers leading 1-0. Jock Jones, born in San Diego, still lives there, went to school right here at USC. Jock, left-hand hitter, throw to first. Floyd back on the bag. Cliff Floyd does not have a stolen base, nor has he been involved in one. So Jock Jones waiting at the plate. Derek ready and delivers, and it's swung on and missed, and the count 0-1. Jones is 8 for 25 against Derek Lowe. That's a .320 batting average. No balls and 1 strike to Jock. 32 years old in April. The strike 1 pitch. A left-hand hitter grounds it to Kent. A quick feed to Percal, and that's that. So 4 ground balls in the first 2 innings. A tip off that Lowe is very much on his game. And at the end of an inning and a half, Dodgers 1, Cubs nothing. Bottom of the second inning, Dodgers lead the Cubs 1-0. Tony Abreu will lead it off. Ted Lilly winds up, delivers a fastball low, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Abreu made his debut the other night. You may remember in the first ground ball he got, he threw away, but he has settled down. The next one is swung on, high fly ball to center. Jones is right there. Jacques waiting and makes the catch for the out. So Abreu a fly ball. And that'll bring up Andre Ethier. The Dodgers,
right fielder, number
who have
16,
faced Lilly,
Andre Ethier.
only 6 of them. All but Signs are in the starting lineup, but Ethier never faced him. So Ted waiting for his outfield to go to position, and now ready to work on Andre Ethier. December last year, Lilly signed a 4-year deal with the Cubs. He's going to be around a while. The pitch to Ethier is high, ball 1. Signed by the Dodgers, came up to the Expos, then played for the Yankees, then briefly with the A's and the Blue Jays and the Cubs. A comebacker and a lob throw over to Lee in time, and just like that, 2 down in the second inning. We were talking before about the fact that Lilly is quite a competitor, whether it's against humans or dogs. A year ago, he and Blue Jays manager John Gibbons had an altercation in the tunnel, a rather heated exchange on the mound when Gibbons was taking him out of the ball game. Lilly working now on Lowe, and Derek takes low and inside, ball 1. They say that a team trainer, security officials, and some Blue Jay players on the bench at the time rushed into the tunnel and broke up the altercation. Lowe fouls the next one away. Gibbons and Lilly after that sat down, talked it through, shook hands, and moved on. 1-1 the count. Fastball, that big 12-6 curveball, change up and a slider, and the fastball is swung on and missed. 1-2. It was the curveball, the 12-6 curve, that got him in trouble. 0-2 to Russell Martin, and Martin hit it into center for the base hit to drive in the run. There's the curve, speared by Lilly on a comebacker, and he makes the play. So a 1-2-3 inning in the second inning. Lilly walks off, and the Dodgers lead 1-0. Dodgers lead the Cubs 1-0, top of the third inning, and all of us connected with the ball club would like to congratulate longtime Los Angeles sports anchor, reporter, and former Dodger pregame show host Stu Nahan, who received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame earlier today. Way to go, Stu. Cesar Izturis hitting left-handed and takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Izturis has been Jekyll and Hyde for the Cubs. The strike 1 pitch is swung on, ground ball, base hit. He is 2 different hitters. On the road, Izturis is hitting about 360. At Wrigley Field, Chicago, he's hitting 149. So Izturis, a line drive single up the middle, and now Ted Lilly coming up. Izturis at first base has been alternating with Terriot at the position. He has 1 stolen base. Lilly is around to bunt and takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Corners putting the squeeze on him. Garciaparra and Abreu charging the plate. Lilly hitting 100. He has 1 sacrifice and 2 hits. Showing bunt again. He's in a crouch, tries to bunt and misses. 0-2 the count. One of the things that is driving Lou Piniella up a wall is the inability of the Cubs to do basic fundamental things. I mean, you're talking about Piniella, who led 2 teams to wire finishes, the 90 Reds and the 2001 Mariners. Strike 2 pitch, the bunt is missed, and Lilly strikes out, and he will make the long walk and have to look at Piniella. And I mean, when Piniella was a player, he collected at least 1,400 hits, and as a manager, 1,400 victories. And Lilly unable to bunt to help his own cause and strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Derek Lowe. Lou, they tell me, is seething. I mean, he never would have taken the job if he thought the Cubs were going to be where they are on this Memorial weekend. You know, the Cub payroll got up to over $100 million this winter, and here they are struggling. The batter now is Alfonso Soriano, and he takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Soriano played, at best you could say, kind of a careless way on the ball that was hit by Garciaparra. Didn't really go down to get the ball. I think he expected the ball to come up into his glove, and that cost a run. Strike 1 pitch to Alfonso, and that's off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. For Soriano, making a lot of news when he came over to the Cubs. The 4th major leaguer to ever hit 40 and steal 40. Canseco, Barry Bonds, and A-Rod. The 1-1 pitch on the way, and Soriano ground ball to short for call to Kent, who turns it to Garciaparra. So the lack of the bunt, immediately the Dodgers turn it into the inning end to double play. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left, and at the end of 2.5, 1-0 Dodgers. Dodgers holding on to a 1-0 lead, bottom of the 3rd for Call, Pierre, and Garciaparra. Interesting note about Alfonso Soriano and Derek Lowe. Soriano was 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and hit into a double play. And it shows you what happens once a solid major league pitcher finds a way to handle you. We'll give you the note in a moment as Call takes a look at the strike. The first 20 career at-bats that Soriano had against Derek Lowe, he had 350. The next 22 career at-bats, he's hitting less than 100 against Lowe. Strike 1 pitch on the way is swung on and fouled away, and the count 0-2. The Dodgers and the Cubs, not only a big difference in the standings, big difference in 1-run games, big difference in bullpens. Another one is what they do on singles and home runs. Lilly into the windup, and the strike 2 pitch on the way. Fastball hit to the hole on the right side. Nice pick by DeRosa to throw him out. And we have 1 down here in the 3rd inning. For the Dodgers, they only score runs on home runs 18% of the time. That's the lowest in the major leagues. But when you talk about the Dodgers scoring runs on base hits, as they did in the 1st inning, they are 2nd highest in the major leagues. Over 37% of their runs come driven in by singles. So here now is Juan Pierre. Into the windup goes Lilly. A bunt up along first. Lilly picks it up, throws high, and Derek Lee, I guess, came off the bag. And look out, here comes Lou Piniella to argue with Doug Eddings. Eddings pointing to the bag. His foot was up. That's what Eddings said. His foot was up. Let's watch. Lilly, a quick pick, a high throw, and there you see the foot. He was right. Good call by first base umpire Doug Eddings. So Pierre is safely aboard, and they will rule that a base hit. And it brings up Nomar. as big Derek Lee had his foot off the bag, to reach up on the high throw. So Pierre now will try to put the screws to Piniella, of course, if he gets an opening. And Lilly decides he'd best get over there, and Pierre back on the bag. Remember, he has stolen 17 out of 22. 1-0 Dodgers, bottom of the third. Lilly out of his stretch, looks over at first, and a quick throw. Lilly, a few years ago, had a fairly good move to first base. The league stole something like 12 out of 20. What his real problem was, and this is rare, his real problem, the fact the runners went wild stealing third. Left-hander ready, comes to the plate. Garciaparra takes high, ball one. A couple of years ago, the opposition stole third 11 times against Lilly without being caught. 11 for 11. Ted out of his stretch, another check at Pierre, and another throw over there. And of course, what Pierre is trying to do is get a good look without being picked off. One nothing Dodgers, third inning. With one out, Pierre at first. Lilly, arms hang as he looks in to get a sign, now straightens up. The 1-0 pitch on the way. There goes Pierre. They pick him off. Lee down to Izturis, who tags him out. And that, of course, is rule caught stealing. So Pierre is hung out to dry. 1-3-6 on a good move by Ted Lilly. So Pierre has now stolen 17 out of 23, 6 times that they've gotten him. Close play. He was tagged on the ribs, and that hand was almost on the bag. Nomar takes a high fastball. 2-0 the count. So Juan Pierre back in the dugout. 2 down, bottom of the third. Dodgers 1, Cubs nothing. Now the 2-0 pitch, and that's low. We were talking about a discrepancy between the Dodger front office and the Cub front office. The Dodgers say the Cubs and Dodgers have played 2010 and they've split. Pierre swing, Garciaparra swings, 3-1 the count. Anyway, that would say that each team beat the other 1,005 times. But the Cubs say the Dodgers have only beaten them 1,004. The pitch to Garciaparra is high, ball 4. So that'll bring up Jeff Kent. The Time Warner Summer Six-Pack is back. See the Dodgers all summer long with these 6-game packages. Save up to 50% on select location. Makes a great gift for Father's Day. To get in on the great deal, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. So Garciaparra gets a walk after Pierre is picked off and thrown out stealing. And here is Jeff Kent. The first pitch to Kent, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Kent hitting .355 against left-hand pitching and walked in the first inning. Lilly's fastball is whacked to left field. Back goes Soriano, way back, and it is gone. And the Dodgers lead 3-0. Boy, did Jeff Kent ever unload on that one. The ball wound up a good halfway up the bleachers in left field. Just in from the bullpen a tad. And so Jeff Kent hits a bomb, and the Dodgers lead 3-0 on Jeff's 8th home run. He now has 27 runs batted in. And here is Russell Martin, and the pitch low and inside, ball 1. For Ted Lilly, that would be the 4th home run that he has allowed. Last year, and we had mentioned Lilly is a fly ball pitcher. Last year, he gave up 27 home runs to right-handed batters as Martin fouls the pitch away. Last year, he gave up just 1 home run to left-hand batters. So he pays the price with Kent. Boy, Jeff was all over that thing. So the Dodgers lead 3-0 in the third. Lilly into his windup, and the 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball low, ball 2, 2-1 the count. The 2-1 pitch coming up, and that is low. Remember, Martin hit a curveball, no balls, 2 strikes, and single is sounded to drive in the run. So he's got nothing but fastballs and a low slider. And the 3-1 pitch, another fastball high, ball 4. So in the inning, Furcal grounded out. Pierre bunted. A good throw would have had him, but a high throw let him get away. He was then picked off. Garciaparra walked. Kent homers, and now Martin walks. So Larry Rothschild going out to try and settle Ted Lilly down. In his last 5 starts, the most important number, the Cubs have won 4 of the 5. He is not only 2-0 on the road, he has won 3 of those last 5 starts, but he finds himself down 3-0, and we're in the third inning. Of course, the Cubs have some boys who can put runs on the board. They have hit 40 home runs and have knocked in 211 runs, about 6 more than the Dodgers. So here's Luis Gonzalez. Now he lined out to right field in the first inning. Gonzo with 3 of his 5 home runs against left-hand pitching. So Martin at first, 2 out, 2 in, 3-0 Dodgers, and a throw to first, and Martin back on the bag. And of course, Russell's presence at first gives you something to think about. He has stolen 8 out of 9. Lilly out of a stretch, left-handed to the plate with a fastball low, ball 1, 1-0. Good news about Chicago's Wrigley Field. They're going to erect a statue in honor of Ernie Banks. That's great. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Lilly ready and deals off the plate, ball 2. Ernie Banks, who hit 512 home runs, 14 times an All-Star, twice an MVP in 1958 and 59. Entered the Hall of Fame in 1977. And he will have a statue at Wrigley. Mr. Cub. The 2-0 pitch is instead a throw to first. So why not? There's a statue of Musial in St. Louis. There is a statue of Aaron in Atlanta. There is a statue of Mays in San Francisco. And Banks certainly deserves his. 2-0 pitch on the way. Lilly down 3-0, comes back with a fastball swung on and missed, and the count 2-1. Most home runs Ernie ever hit? 1 year, 1958, he hit 47. He led the league as a shortstop in home runs twice. Out of a stretch goes Lilly. Another look over at Martin. Back with a fastball hit foul down the left field line. Gonzo checking the bat. Hit that more to the handle than the meat end of the bat. 2-2 to count. Tomorrow afternoon, Mark Hendrickson and Carlos Zambrano. And then Sunday afternoon, Rich Hill and Randy Wolf. Then the Dodgers go on the road. They'll go to Washington and Pittsburgh and finish up in San Diego before coming home to play Toronto and the Mets. 2-2 pitch on the way. Slow curveball lifted to shallow center. Jack Jones a long way to come and makes the catch. The Gonzalez a fly ball to shallow center, but Jeff Kent just crushed a fastball above the belt into the bleachers with a man aboard. And at the end of 3, Dodgers 3, Cubs nothing. Here's tonight's Aflac trivia question. When was the last time both a Cub and Dodger first baseman made the All-Star team? Well, we'll give you the answer in a little while. A couple of solid first basemen in this series with Nomar Garciaparra and Derek Lee. Mark DeRosa will start it off, then Lee, and then Ramirez. And Derek Lowe about ready to get started, leading 3-0 in the 4th. You know, it's interesting. The Cubs are currently playing their 5th series in a row against clubs with winning records, after playing 4 series in a row against sub 500 teams. And when they were playing the subs, they were 8-1 over a 9-game stretch. But since then, the last 16, they've lost 10 of the 16. So Piniella suddenly playing good ball clubs, and the Cubs are hurting. 1-1 the count to DeRosa, who grounded to third in the first inning. When you read off the Cub lineup, sometimes you have to blink, because Piniella has been very busy trying to find the solution. 36 different lineups in 46 games. 2-1 the count to DeRosa, with Lee and Ramirez big guys to follow. And that's off the plate. Ball 3. 3-1. DeRosa Wednesday in San Diego had a single, double, and triple. 3-1. And he's aboard with a walk, which is a shaky way to start, with Lee and Ramirez coming out.
For the Cubs, first
Lee,
baseman,
who was hitting 400 with less
Derek
than
Lee.
2 out. When he won the batting title 2 years ago, Lee hit 335. That made him only the 7th Cub since 1900 to win the crown, and the first since Bill Buckner did it back in 1980. And a ground ball to short for call to Kent, to Garcia Parra. Double play. So Derek Lee's throwing those sinkers, and he's getting ground balls, and that would be the second Dodger double play. So the leadoff man has gotten on base in each of the last 2 innings, and a Cub has then hit into a double play. It was Soriano in the 3rd, and now Lee here in the 4th. So that brings up Aramis Ramirez, the power guy, with 11 home runs, but the bases are empty. Ramirez grounded out in the 2nd inning. Sinker, ball 1. 1-0. Ramirez in November of last year signed a 5-year deal with the Cubs. That's ball 2. As we told you, the Cubs spent a lot of money, and their payroll is now over $100 million. They are second to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's payroll, if I remember correctly, $72 million. Sinker slowly to third. Abreu, bare hand pickup, off balance throw, got him. And Ramirez just fed up, thought he had the play beaten, but a fine play by young Tony Abreu. So a leadoff walk turns to nothing, and at the end of 3.5 innings, the Dodgers 3 runs, 4 hits, the Cubs no runs, 1 hit. Tony Abreu taking a strike after making that splendid play to get Ramirez, looking for his first major league hit. 0 for 4. Little ground ball, and his Torres takes care of it. 1 away. Remember the Aflac trivia question, talking about first baseman for the Cubs and Dodgers, made the All-Star team the last time? What was your answer? Does it match up to Mark Grace and Eric Karros? 1995. Interesting to compare the 2 pitchers. For instance, Derek Lowe, as usual, getting ground balls. He is not allowed a fly ball. Derek has had 9 ground balls and 3 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Lilly has been behind on 9 of 16 hitters. Curveball in there. 0-2 to Ethier. Yet it was the 2 hitters who were behind early in the count who drove in the RBI. Remember, Martin hit the curveball 0-2 to drive in a run. Kent hit an 0-1 fastball to drive in 2. And each time the hitter was following a walk. Kent had walked in the first inning when Martin got his hit. Garcia-Parra walked in the 3rd inning when Kent hit his home run. Fastball hit late and foul. 0-2 to Andre, hit back to the box in the 2nd inning. Ethier hitting .275. 3 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Oh, the Padres are dismantling the Milwaukee Brewers. Padres are leading 7-0, and Kevin Kuzminoff, who right now is in a zone, just hit his 2nd career grand slam. And that's a game with Greg Maddux pitching for the Padres. So Ethier goes down the 2nd out. Giants are leading the Rockies 3-0, top of the 6th. And the D-backs are edging the Astros 4-2, bottom of the 6th. Remember, when the game started tonight, the Dodgers led San Diego by 1, Arizona by 2, and the Giants by 2.5. Derek Lowe hit back to the box in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. Dodgers 3, Cubs 0. Jeff Kent a 2-run home run. Ball 1 to Derek. Lowe hitting 111. He has 2 hits, 1 RBI. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow afternoon, Carlos Zambrano and Mark Hendrickson. Zambrano has been struggling. His earned run average is over 5.5, and he is a break even 4-4. Fouled away. Hendrickson is 2-1, an ERA of 3. And then Sunday, the concluding game of the series and the homestand, Rich Hill and Randy Wolf. Hill is 4-4. And that's a strike. So that'll be that. The Dodgers go 1-2-3 in the 4th inning. Lilly sets him down in order for the 2nd time. And at the end of 4, 3-0 Dodgers. Dodger Baseball on FSN Prime Ticket is brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. Dodgers 3, Cubs 0 as we move to the 5th inning. Cliff Floyd followed by Michael Barrett and then Jock Jones. Floyd walked in the 2nd inning. Cliff's been hitting the ball well the last 8 games, 7 for 21. That's ball 1. 2 years ago, I remember Cliff Floyd made headlines, had nothing to do with what he was doing on the field. He went to a basketball game. It was in March. Ground ball. Kent's in front of it. Came to double clutch and then threw it in the dirt and almost let Floyd get away. 1 out. Anyway, Cliff Floyd went to see the Miami Heat play a basketball game and lost his earring.
Michael Barrett.
It wasn't just any old earring, friends. That earring cost $16,000. And as Cliff said, whoever finds that, it's going to be a happy camper. And he never did get it back. $16,000 earring. Here's Michael and ball 1. 3-0 Dodgers, top of the 5th inning. Jock Jones on deck. That's a strike. And hits one into right field for a base hit. So a 1-out single to right will bring up Jock Jones. Earlier, a little bit of fun at home plate. You had to look closely to see it. When Derek Lowe takes strike 3, he's going to act like he's going to argue, and watch. Kerwin Danley's going to act like he's going to throw him out of the game. Oh, is that so? And then they both laugh, and Derek walks away. Every now and then, you got to get a chuckle. Kerwin Danley, 10 years in the big leagues. And ball 1 to Jacques Jones. Jones hit into a force play in the second inning. The story about Jacques Jones is his mom, who worked for a fast food company in Poway. And every now and then, Tony Gwynn would come by to get some fried chicken. And Tony, knowing that Jacques was in the minor leagues, would ask, "Hey, how's your son doing?" 1 ball and 1 strike. On the outside corner, 1-2. Well, Jacques finally made it to the big leagues with the Twins, and he was with them from '99 through '05. Last 2 years with the Cubs. He has a lot of sock. He's hit 27 twice in the big leagues. He has 1 so far this year. In the dirt, nice save by Russell Martin. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Boy, Martin can do it all, can't he? Clutch base hits, steal bases, drive in runs, and catch and throw. When Jacques was in college in '95, he set a Southern Cal record. He hit in 28 straight games. 2-2. And ball 3. We told you about his power. He had back-to-back years with the Twins where he hit over 300. So Jack Jones, 3-2, 1 out. Strikes out a lot. In fact, he has struck out more than 100 times, 5 straight years. So we'll see what that means, whether they're going to run Barrett or not. They're gonna. And it's a slow roller to Kent, and tries to do 2 things at once and comes up empty. I think as Jeff was fielding the ball, he was thinking, maybe I have a tag on Barrett. Maybe I should, well, it'd be too late to give the ball for a call, so I'll throw to first. And it just got away. That's where he's thinking what to do, and the ball just comes out of the glove. So it'll be an error charge to Kent. The Cubs now have 2 on with 1 out. And here is Little Caesar, is Turris, who singled to center in the 3rd inning. So Kent committing the error is Turris, 27 years old, out of Venezuela. Came up to the Dodgers 5 years ago. Ball 1. 2 different players hitting a good 360 on the road and 149 at Wrigley. When you ask Cesar, I remember about his first baseball glove. It's kind of interesting. But right now, a little roller to Kent. That'll be the 2nd out, and the runners move up. The Barrett goes to 3rd, Jones to 2nd. As Turris said, his first glove, his father sold his car.
For the Cubs, pitcher number 30.
And he got a glove for Cesar, 1 for Meiser, and then his father bought a motorcycle for himself. An old car, a 56 model, worth a glove. So now here is Lilly, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Little foul, 0-1. So by rights, the inning should be over, and Lilly now trying to cash in a break. Jeff Cantor hit the 2-run home run in the 3rd. Has a little trouble with the ground ball by Jacques Jones. 0-2. Lilly has just 2 hits. Lowe has yet to have a fly ball. Waved at a bad ball way out of the strike zone. So that's all Derek needs. No runs, 1 hit, an error, 2 left, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. Dodger Baseball on FSN Prime Ticket is brought to you by Carl's Jr. Come try the new Buffalo Chicken Sandwich at Carl's Jr. Spice up your day. And by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. Bottom of the 5th inning with the Dodgers leading the Cubs 3-0 for Cole Pierre and Garciaparra. So Rafael with that 11-game hitting streak and fouls it away. Interesting, the last 2 years, the difference in Furcall's batting average in April and in May. 06 and 07 in April, he hit 200. 06 and 07 in May, 347. Breaking ball misses, 1-1. In April, 2 years, 5 extra base hits. In May, 15. Foul back. In April, those 2 years, 7 RBIs. In May, 22. So he certainly is Mr. May. 1-2. Breaking ball hit wide at third. Nice play there by Ramirez to get him. So Rafael goes 0 for 3. Aramis Ramirez makes a good play. And the batter, Juan Pierre. 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Cubs. Juan Pierre bunted up along first. The throw, remember, high. Derek Lowe came off the bag, but then Pierre picked off and was thrown out trying to steal. That was followed by a walk to Garciaparra and the home run by Kent. Fouled away. Another foul ball, 1-2 the count. Juan hitting .272. And that's gonna drop. So Pierre, a pop fly single into shallow left center, a trio of Cubs, but no play. So Pierre now is 2 for 3. And the batter will be Nomar Garciaparra. 5 hits for the Dodgers. So Pierre just pings that thing. Soriano, Jones, along with his tourists, all trying to get under it. Garciaparra doubled in the first inning and walked in the third. Ball 1. Garciaparra's double could have gone either way. In fact, it did. First they called it a single and an error charge to Soriano, and then they had a correction on the board and said no, make it a double. 1 ball and no strikes. Pierre, having been picked off, has stolen 17 out of 23. Busy talking to Derek Lee. Just off the plate. 2-0. So Ted Lilly, who signed his first professional contract with the Dodgers, Made the stops right up to Albuquerque and then moved out. Ball 3. Little curveball. Well, there they are. Nomar. He swung 3-0 last at bat. That's ball 4. So he walks a second time. And the batter will be Jeff Kent. And Kent unloaded on a fastball in the 3rd inning. A ball just above the belt, and he crushed it. Halfway at least up the pavilion in left field. So that gave the Dodgers a 3-0 lead. So Kent, as he checks in at the plate, 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in, and hitting .293. Kent, one of the top Dodger hitters against left-hand pitching. He started the night hitting .355, and he's 1 for 1. Michael Barrett now talking to the infield with 1 away. Dodgers have a sinker ball pitcher, so their infield has come turned 2 double plays. The Cubs have pretty much of a fly ball hitting pitcher as far as Ted Lilly is concerned. Pickoff play, not in time. So Lilly and DeRosa trying to combine to get Pierre. They have nothing else to take perhaps a step away from him. Dodgers 3, Cubs nothing. And Pierre bluffs, and the pitch is strike. Pierre, of course, if nothing else, trying to open up a hole on the infield. He's surrounded by assassins out there. DeRosa trying to hold him on. And that's lined into left center. Base hit. In fact, it's going to roll to the wall. 1 run is in. That's brought in by Pierre. Here comes Nomar. And the Dodgers now have opened it up on the double by Jeff Kent. And the Dodgers lead 5-0. So Jeff Kent, having a big night with the bat, has knocked in 4 of the 5. And Piniella said that's enough. So Ted Lilly has been pitching very well, but not tonight. And by the time Soriano picked up the ball, both runs were in. Carlos Marmol, a right-hander, will be coming in from the pen. And we'll be back. Ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by Southern California Ford, not just miles per gallon, but more fun per gallon. Dodgers sitting on top of a 5-0 lead. And again, Jeff Kent behind in the count 0-1, doubled in 2. So Ted Lilly is driven to cover, and Carlos Marmol will come in. He's from the Dominican Republic. When the Cubs signed him in 1999, they signed him as a catcher outfielder. And in the early days, he hit .273, but they thought his potential as a pitcher was far more. And ball 1 to Russell Martin. Marmol with a fastball, curve, cutter, and a change. 24 years old. He'll be 25 in October, so he's really just starting out. Came up last year and pitched for a while. 5-7. And there's one, a line drive at third. Holding on at second is Kent. So Ramirez on it, and Luis Gonzalez coming up. So in the inning with 1 out, Pierre got a pop fly single. Then Garcia power walk, and Kent doubled to the gap to drive in 2 more and drive Lilly out of the game. So Ted, I'm sure he had been pitching so well. He was 3-0. The Cubs had won 4 of his 5 starts, but he is chased. Gonzalez lined out to right, fly to center, takes a strike, 0-1. Game 1 of the 3-game series. Tomorrow afternoon, Carlos Zambrano and Mark Hendrickson off the plate, 1-1. Sunday, Rick Hill and Randy Wolf. Randy, along with Stan Johnson, making his notes on the ball game. Fastball for a strike at the knees, 1-2. Cubs will have the top of the order, Soriano, DeRosa, and Lee, in the 6th inning. That will do it for Gonzalez and the Dodgers, but not before Kent drives in 2 more, and it's 5-0 Dodgers.
Watch the Dodgers live after the game on FSN Prime Ticket.
On this day in 1979, the Dodgers were playing the Cincinnati Reds. I guess they were playing with the Cincinnati Reds. They piled up 20 hits, beat the Reds 17-6, and 7 different Dodgers, including the pitcher Rick Sutcliffe, hit home runs. Think that was the first time? Nope, they did it 3 years earlier against the Cubs. Let's go back to this one. Five to nothing Dodgers tonight. Alfonso Soriano struck out in the 1st inning, hit into a double play in the 3rd. The numbers we told you earlier are pretty interesting. First 20 at bats, he hit .350 against Lowe, and this time base hit up the middle. Well, Soriano 1 for 3. So he was hitting less than 100 in his last 23 at bats against Derek Lowe. So with Soriano at first, Mark DeRosa will be coming up. Soriano is talking to first base coach Matt Sinatro. You know, it's interesting. Soriano and Jeff Kent have a connection. We'll tell you in a moment. That's ball 1. As a second baseman for Texas 2 years ago, Soriano joined Jeff Kent and Rogers Hornsby as the only second baseman in Major League history to record 3 30 home run seasons. And now they're going head to head tonight, and Kent has one. Ball 2. On deck, Derek Lee. Cubs beat the Dodgers 4 out of 6 last year, 2 of 3 here. And ball 3. And the Cubs, as we mentioned earlier, the last 7 times they've come to Dodger Stadium, they've won 6 of the 7. Piniella looking for a win, and he's down 5-0 here in the 6th inning. Three and 0 to DeRosa, who has grounded out and walked. There goes Soriano, the pitch, a strike. Boy, that's a strange time to run on a 3-0 pitch, down 5-0. Soriano obviously saw an opening and took off. He's stolen 8 out of 9. So Derek Lowe so intent on pitching to DeRosa, and Soriano really picked his pocket. And that's a strike. Of course, Soriano, remember, is only the 4th major leaguer to hit 40 and steal 40. Last year, he's the first major leaguer ever. He hit 40, stole 40, and also had 40 doubles. 3-2. And that's hit to straightaway center to Pierre. Soriano tags, and he's going to come. And the throw, he is in there, and pretty good throw by Juan Pierre. So Soriano singles, steals second, and advances to third on the fly ball. Second time that the Cubs have had a runner at third. Barrett reached in the 5th inning. So Pierre, a one-hopper, not in time, but close. So now Derek Lee with a chance to get the Cubs on the board. 3 home runs, 25 runs batted in, and hitting .365. By the way, that fly ball by DeRosa is the first fly ball that the Cubs have managed tonight. Everything else has been on the ground. Derek Lee will be 32 in September. He's 6'5", 245. Batting champ 2 years ago. And a strike. 1-1 the count to Derek. You may remember his father, Leron, a first-round pick of the Cardinals. His uncle, Leon, was also a major leaguer. Leron, Leon's brother, played for the Dodgers. 2-1. So Derek gave up the single to Soriano, got DeRosa. Now working carefully, 2-1 to Derek Lee with Aramis Ramirez on deck. Breaking ball, ball 3. Derek's dad, Leron, played in Japan for 10 years. Derek was about 2 years old, and he attended elementary school in Japan. In fact, as he said, he watched more Japanese baseball than American growing up. As a child, he could speak Japanese, but once he came back here, didn't use it, and it's gone. 3-1 the count. Inside corner, 3-2. One out, 6th inning. Soriano at third. 5-0 Dodgers. And ground, fair ball over third down the line, and it's not coming to Gonzo, so Furcal goes over to get it, and the ball wedged in right behind the tarp. So stopping at second with the double is Lee. Scoring is Soriano, and that makes it 5-1 Dodgers. And the batter now will be Aramis Ramirez. Abreu just missing it. Rick Honeycutt's going out to talk to Derek Lowe. Interesting change in Lowe. In his first 4 innings, he was getting at first pitch strike over 69% of the time. In the last 2 innings, however, he's gotten the first pitch strike to only 1 of the 8 hitters. So in the 5th inning, because of the error, he was in trouble second and third, but got out of it. Now base hit, stolen base, and a double by Lee. It is 5-1 Dodgers, and Ramirez 0 for 2, thrown out on a fine play by Tony Abreu in the 4th inning. And that's a strike. The big guy, he has 11 home runs, 35 runs batted in, and hitting a solid .290 from the Dominican. 2 years in a row, he led the league in sacrifice flies. 1 ball, 1 strike. This year so far, after leading the league 2 years in a row in sacrifice fly balls, he had 11 each time. He's had just 1. And the Cubs have only 7 scoring fly balls. That's going to be hit to the gap, but it's slicing and it's coming to Ethier. So the room service fly ball. And with 2 down, the batter will be Cliff Floyd.
Next right fielder, Cliff Floyd.
Sacrifice flies certainly come in handy. Where the Cubs have 7, the Dodgers have 19. That's also the second fly ball that Derek Lowe has around. And here's Cliff Floyd. Cliff hitting .277, 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in. A strike, 0-1. Remember last year in October, the Dodgers playing the Mets? And Cliff Floyd scored from first base. Pulled up lame, strained the Achilles tendon, and just couldn't last. Tried hard to stay in, lasted about 2 innings. And 2 weeks later, he had to have surgery on the Achilles tendon on his left leg. 0-1 to Cliff. 1-1. So Derek Lowe working hard now in the last 2 innings. He's leading 5-1. One ball and 1 strike. Ball 2. Floyd, who came up with the Expos, played with the Marlins, the Red Sox, played for the Sox in '02, then the Mets, and now the Cubs. Two and 1 to Cliff. Little foul ball. Floyd is 6'4" and 240, and he was a running back and defensive end in high school. He got college offers to play football from Illinois, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. Kansas and Kentucky were going to let him play 2 sports. He signed a letter of intent with Creighton to play basketball and baseball. Well, he's quite an athlete. 2-2. 2 down, Lee at second, 5-1 Dodgers, 6th inning. Ball 3, another nice block on a sinker in the dirt. Three and 2 to Cliff Floyd, and ball 4. So Michael Barrett coming up. Grady Little, Rick Honeycutt, Dave Joust.
Michael Barrett.
Little concern now. Derek's pitch count up to 79. But more importantly, he's worked harder in this inning than any of the previous innings. And the last 2 innings, he's made 39 of those pitches. And here's number 40 to Barrett, who has struck out, single to right. Michael with 7 home runs, 24 runs batted in. A strike, 0-1. Three years in a row, Michael Barrett had over 25 doubles. Big fella, 6'3", 210. Oh, and 1. Fastball. So Derek Lowe struggling, and Rudy Cianez will now get up in the Dodger bullpen. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a strike slider that just did dip in at the knees. 1 and 2. Chased a bad ball down and away, and it was another slider. So when in doubt, Lowe keeps the ball down, strikes out Barrett, and for all of it, the Cubs get one. Dodgers lead 5-1. Dodgers lead 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Abreu, Ethier, and Lowe in that order. For Derek Lowe, tough inning. He made 27 pitches, his longest inning. He allowed his first 2 fly balls. He allowed his first run, and he had 3 3-ball counts. So he has a lot to think about as Tony Abreu takes ball 1. By the way, the Cubs were 5 for 30 with runners in scoring position in the San Diego series. They are 1 for 6 tonight. And that's hit into right field, and there it is. Tony Abreu's first hit, and he's not going to stop. And he's into second base with a double. So the ball is on its way to the Dodger dugout, and that will wind up on the shelf as Juan Pierre cleans it off. Tony Abreu, who made a wonderful play defensively in the 4th inning, goes down and gets one below the knees and hits it down the right field line for a double. So hit number 1, the way he swings the bat, that will certainly not be his last hit. He was hitting about 347 when they called him up from Las Vegas. Now Ethier, Lowe, and for call. And ball 1. Wilson Betemit is going to come out. So the Dodgers are going to take care of that ball, and I'm sure Mitch Poole will decorate it later on. Foul back. Wilson Betemit is going to be out on deck to hit for Lowe. So that 6th inning took a lot out of Derek, and the Dodgers will send up their pinch hitter par excellence, Wilson Betemit. 5-1 Dodgers in the 6th. Little chopper wide at third, speared there by Ramirez to get him, and on the play Abreu takes third. So 1 out, and Wilson Betemit will now come up and bat for Derek Lowe.
For the Dodgers, pinch hitting for Lowe, number 10, Wilson Betemit.
Betemit has been in the zone coming off the bench. He is 5 for 7 with 3 home runs and 7 runs batted in. Overall, hitting less than 200 with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs. The infield plays up. Off the plate, ball 1. Marmol in relief of starter Ted Lilly. They're going to check no swing, says Darrell Cousins. 2 balls and no strikes. The bottom 3 in the lineup for the Cubs, Jones is Turris, and Marmol, the pitcher, will be due up in the 7th. So Abreu at third with 1 out. 3-0. So the 24-year-old touched up for the double by Tony Abreu, and Betemit now with the count his way 3-0. And ball 4. So the Dodgers now have runners at first and third, 1 out, and Rafael Furcal, the batter. Don't forget Sunday photo day down on the field. You can take pictures of current and former Dodgers. Compliments of Universal Studios Hollywood. Gates to the field open at 11:10. So for information, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. Michael Barrett talking to young Marmol. First and third, one out. Dodgers trying to open up a 5-1 lead. Lou Piniella, thoroughly frustrated in San Diego, piloting a ball club that has a record of 2-10 in one-run games. That's a strike. Marmol, who was just recalled from Iowa AAA. This is only his third game. Comebacker. He goes to second and back to first, and turnabout is fair play. The Dodgers have turned 2 double plays on the Cubs, and the Cubs turn 1 on the Dodgers. And at the end of 6, Dodgers 5, Cubs 1.
Watch Dodgers live after the game on FSN Prime Ticket.
Say, friends, it's still not too late to get season tickets to all of Dodger home games for as low as $4 a ticket. Season ticket packages are available now and more affordable than you think. You can even put together a mini season ticket plan customized for your schedule. So visit Dodgers.com or give us a call, 866-DODGERS, for more information. 7th inning, 5-1 Cubs. And Joe Beimel will now pick up. Derek Lowe went 6, allowed 1 run and 4 hits. But he worked awfully hard in the 5th and 6th innings, and out he goes. Foul back. Jones hit into a force play, reached on an error. Jock 0 for 2. Beimel in relief, as in his 23rd game. And ground ball, base hit into right field. So the Cubs have stranded 4 in the last 2 innings, and now their leadoff man Jones, a base hit to right. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Yancy Brazaban gets up as Cesar Izturis comes up to hit for the Cubs. Izturis singled and grounded out, 1 for 2. Matt Merton, a right-hand hitter, is out on deck to bat for Marmol. A strike. 0-1. Whoa, very close. Jack, in fact, is appealing to Doug Eddings. He thought that Beimel might have balked. So did Piniella. Whoa, darn it, said Lou. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Little Caesar overall hitting .270, but he's been a terror on the road. Ball 2. Hitting .149 at Wrigley Field and about .360 on the road. Jones at first, leading off the 7th inning with a base hit. And a high fly ball into left center. Pierre is on his horse, makes the play. Tagging up and holding is Jones. So Izturis, a fly ball to the gap, 1 away. And now Matt Merton coming up. Matt Merton, a big guy, 6'1", 220, out of Florida. He was a #1 draft choice out of Georgia Tech by the Boston Red Sox, but he never played for the Sox. He was with the Cubs last year. When he was 16 years old, everybody knew that he had power. In fact, he had 13 last year for the Cubs. At 16, he won the Connie Mack World Series Home Run Derby. 5 years ago, he won the Cape Cod League Home Run Derby. 3 years ago, he won the Florida State League Home Run Derby. So I guess he can hit them. So Joe Beimel hold everything now. And Grady Little decides, you know what? I'm going to make a switch. I want Brazoban. Either he was unhappy with the pitches to his tourists, but Grady's not going to wait to get burned. He's going to make the move right now. So Beimel comes out, Brazoban comes in, and we'll be back. You know, if you wonder why Grady Little suddenly decided I want to make a move, you go back in the backgrounds of both Merton and Little. Not only was Merton a first-round pick by the Red Sox in '03. In '03, Grady was the manager of the Red Sox. Might have seen him in spring training. And then in January of '04, Grady was a special assistant to the Cubs general manager, Jim Hendry. And they made a deal to get Merton along with Nomar Garciaparra. So all of a sudden Grady decides, I don't want this kid to hit one out. 1 ball and no strikes. That's a strike. Yancy Brazoban, coming back from Tommy John surgery last April, came in against the Brewers Wednesday night and struck out the side. He also walked Graffinino, but he struck out Jenkins, Counsell, and Gross. 1-1 the count. Off the plate and a swing, says Doug Eddings. 1-2 the count to Matt Merton. Merton majored in management at Georgia Tech. He was a freshman All-American at Tech. A lot of people think he reminds them of Paul Molitor. 2-2. Last year, he hit .301 with a half a dozen home runs against left-handers. Pretty good reason to get Beimel out of there. However, he also hit .295 with 7 home runs against right-handers. Why isn't he playing regularly? Well, among other things, they say the one thing he doesn't have at all is arm strength. There goes the runner on a pitch too high, and it's a stolen base for Jacques Jones. So for Jones, his second stolen base. Got a good jump. So Merton now with a 3-2 count, and on deck Alfonso Soriano, who can get you back in a game in a hurry. And ball 4. So now folks here getting a little restless as Grady sees Soriano coming up. Soriano struck out, hit into a double play, and then singled and scored a run in the 6th inning. Soriano for the Washington Nationals last year had 46 home runs. For the Rangers, he had as many as 36, and for the Yankees, he had as many as 39. There's a Dodger connection with Soriano. His uncle, Hilario Soriano, was a minor league catcher in the Dodger organization. And a strike. 0-1. 29 years old, from San Pedro de Macari in the Dominican. He can tell you a story. Back in 1996, he made that 15-hour journey from the Dominican to Japan to play for the Carp. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jonathan Broxton now gets up in the Dodger bullpen. It's a baseball family. Not only his uncle, Alfonso's older brother Julio, and Frederico, they also played brief stints in the minors. He went to the Japanese Central League. The Hiroshima Carp fouls away. And Soriano, who is 6'1" and a rather stringy 185, said in Japan the workout would begin at about 9 o'clock in the morning and it went until dark. Sometimes they would have a 4th session of batting practice. 1-2. And that's whacked to left. Gonzalez with the ball over his head, a 1-hopper off the gate. By the time Gonzo picks it up, in comes Jack Jones. Sliding in behind him is Merton. And so the Cubs are right back in the game on that long double by Alfonso Soriano. It is 5-3 in favor of the Dodgers. Take a look at the locations. Finally, the foul ball on a pitch up, and the next one that was up, he hits it over Gonzo's head. So Soriano with a double to left, his second hit, 2 runs batted in, and Rick Sunnycutt going out now to talk to Yancy Brazoban. So in the inning, Jones singled to right, stole second as Torres flied to center. Then Grady decided he didn't want to mess around with Merton facing Beimel, and he brought in Brazoban, who walked Merton, now gives up the double to Soriano. Jones' run is charged to Beimel. Merton's run is charged to Brazoban. So for Alfonso Soriano, that would be his 15th double. But what is shocking, except you realize he's the leadoff hitter, he only had 9 RBIs coming into this game. So 5-3, 1 out, and here's DeRosa, strike. On deck, more trouble, Derek Lee. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 6 hits for the Cubs. One ball and 1 strike. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 7th, Pierre Garciaparra and Kent. 1-1. And that's hit into the gap in right center. So not only will Soriano score, but DeRosa on his way to second, and the tying run is in scoring position with 1 out, and the Cubs have come alive. So Brazoban is not the answer, not tonight, as he gives up a walk and back-to-back doubles. Grady bringing a hook. Derek Lee will be coming up, and we'll be back. The life of the big league reliever. Wednesday night, Brazoban making his comeback, strikes out the side. Tonight comes in, can't get anybody. Gives up a walk and 2 doubles as he works his way back from Tommy John surgery. And now Jonathan Broxton. Broxton, you remember, had that marvelous battle to blow Prince Fielder away in the 8th inning of the 2nd game of the Milwaukee series. And now he'll face another top hitter in Derek Lee. The difference, Lee right-handed, fielder left. With a runner in scoring position, and that's Mark DeRosa, this is a Derek Lee specialty. He leads the league, hitting .455 with runners in scoring position. That's ball one. Lee is already 1 for 1 with a runner in scoring position. He doubled in Soriano in the 6th inning. So Big John, 1 ball and no strikes. Derek Lee hitting overall .369, 3 home runs, 26 runs batted in. One ball, no strikes. Off speed, little breaking ball, a slider, and a 1 ball, 1 strike count. I think after all the numbers that Broxton has put up on that speed gun, everybody starts looking fastball, and Martin calling slider. 1-1. And missed with that one. 2-1. Derek Lee 2 years ago had 46 home runs. So Broxton has to be very careful. Last year, because of the injury following the collision with Furcal, he had only 8 home runs and 30 runs batted in. 2-1. And a drive to the gap in left center. That's going to go to the wall. So it looks like 3 consecutive doubles by the Cubs, and they've tied it up 5-5. So Derek Lee took a fastball in the dirt, then a little slider for a strike, then another breaking ball, then yet another breaking ball, and this time Lee was sitting on it and doubled. So you've had 3 consecutive doubles. Soriano, DeRosa, and Lee. They've also had a leadoff single by Jones and a walk, and it's 5-5. And so Derek Lee 2 for 2 tonight with runners in scoring position, and the Dodgers have seen a 5-0 lead go up the flue. And the batter now is Ramirez with 1 out, and Lee's going to third, and now they've got him in a rundown. Broxton to Furcal for the tag. So Derek Lee, 1 minute a hero, and then commits the sin of trying to go to third. And he's tagged out by Furcal. So carrying a potential go-ahead run, and Piniella is speechless for the moment. Broxton did well on that rundown by holding onto the ball and then running him back towards second base. So Derek Lee, one moment, the double to tie up the game, and the next moment, a blunder on the base paths. And that's going into right field. And now this word from Lou Piniella, huh? Whoa. So wouldn't you know, after Lee is picked off, Ramirez promptly singles to right. The Cubs now 5 runs, 9 hits. That look on Lee's face told it all a moment ago. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. Aramis Ramirez visiting with Nomar, and the batter will be Cliff Floyd. 5-5 in the 7th. So Broxton is not throwing as hard as he did the other night, but then again, he's human. But he's not throwing 98, 99. Time. Granted by Kerwin Danley. And you have to assume Cliff Floyd requested it. So Broxton has given up a double and a single, but no runs. That was a huge play on Derek Lee. Good fastball for a strike, 94. So far, the biggest number on the gun for Broxton. He hit 95 once, but he threw a lot of breaking balls to Lee. 0-1 to Floyd. And a big chopper foul, 0-2. That was 94. Jonathan Broxton, in his 25th game, his earned run average is 1, and his strikeout to walk ratio 3-1, 27-9. Oh, 0-2 to Floyd. 2 out. Ramirez at first. Got to be pretty quick if you're up there at the plate with your hands almost touching your chest and still be able to get them back and ready to swing on a guy who throws as hard as Jonathan Broxton. Well, Cliff has been doing it ever since the early 90s. Hands right in there. And did that hit him, or did he just get out of the way? He just did get out of the way. 2-2. That fastball, by the way, was 97 at his right kneecap. Knocked down the catcher. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, a runner at first, 4 runs in, and a 5-5 tie. And a line drive base hit. Over to run it down is Ethier, all the way to third, and stopping is Ramirez on a long single by Cliff Floyd. And again, the base running blunder by Derek Lee has been huge. Andre Ethier sliding to cut the ball off. Rick Honeycutt has gone out to talk to Broxton. So Big John has hit a bump in the road, not to mention what Derek Lee is thinking. In the inning, Jones singled, stole second. 1 out later, Merton walked. That was against Brazoban. Then Soriano doubled. Then DeRosa doubled. That was off of Brazoban. Then Broxton came in and Lee doubled. Then Lee was picked off, wandering off second base, only to have Ramirez and Floyd single. So Michael Barrett is the 9th man to come to the plate. 2 out, first and third, 4 in, and a 5-5 tie. This is about as ineffective as we have seen Broxton ever since he put on a Dodger uniform. And of course it happened. Fastball, strike, 96. Big John has faced 3 hitters and given up a double and 2 singles. Meanwhile, phone call by Honeycutt to the pen. No one throwing down there right now. Time, no pitch. Broxton and Barrett have never challenged each other. Rudy Cianez is up again. 2 out. One ball and 1 strike. Jock Jones on deck. So Lou Piniella saw his club have 2 hits and no runs the first 4 innings and 8 hits and 5 runs in the last 2. And that's going to be sliced down the line, base hit. The go-ahead run will score. Stopping at second is Floyd. And the Cubs have scored 5 times and lead 6-5. So Barrett slicing one into right field. And for Jonathan Broxton, he has to be wondering what in the world is going on. He has given up a double, 3 consecutive singles, so 4 straight hits. And Jock Jones, who opened up the inning with a base hit, checking in with runners at first and second. 6 runs, 11 hits for the Cubs, 5 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. Ball 1. Jones hit into a force play, reached on an error, single, stole second, and scored a run here in this wild 7th. This inning began 27 minutes ago. That's a strike, 1-1. So Jones, the 10th man to come to the plate. Six consecutive hits against the Dodgers and 7 hits in the inning. 1-1. And that's going to be hit inside third and down the line, and it's not going out to Gonzalez. Furcal has to pick it up, can't make the play. There are runners at second and third. Another run comes in, and the Cubs now are leading 7-5, and the Dodgers can't stop the bleeding. A double by Jones, his second hit in the inning, and a run batted in. So this has been a nightmare for Grady Little when he went out to the mound and lifted Beimel, and the sky has fallen in on Brazoban and Broxton. And for the Cubs, a rather remarkable display. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight hits, 8 hits in the inning. They lead 7-5, and we'll be back. A rather unbelievable inning for the Cubs. In looking back at their work this year, their most runs in an inning had been 7 against the White Sox. Their most hits in an inning had been 5, and they have 8. So for Jonathan Broxton, he finds out a little bit of what it's like to be the other guy. I mean, he has been absolutely unhittable, and then tonight he was very hittable. So now the only batter to make out in the inning is coming up to face Rudy Cianez. The batter is Turris, who flied out to Pierre in left center. The second out, remember, was Derek Lee wandering off second base. So Jock Jones is at second, Michael Barrett at third, 2 out. And as Turris, a fly ball slicing foul. Gonzo will not have a play. 7 runs, 12 hits for the Cubs. 5 runs, 7 hits, and an error for the Dodgers. Is Turris the 11th man to come up? Oh, and 1. There was a fleeting moment on the mound. We had it, but whether we taped it or not's another story. To give you an indication of how Grady Little manages. That's when he went out to the mound to lift Jonathan Broxton. Broxton was absolutely blown away by what happened, and Grady somehow said something to him, and Jonathan smiled. And that's a rare moment indeed. 1-2. Grady has the strength, the character. Watch carefully now. Watch Broxton. There you go. Made him smile. And that is so typical of Little. 1-2 the count to Cesar Torres. 7-5 Cubs with a half a dozen here in the seventh. And popped in the air foul. Abreu coming over, so near and yet so far. No play for Tony. Where'd that? I can't find the ball. Ah, there it is. The young lady has it. Good. She's embarrassed. So Jones and Barrett taking their leads with 2 out. 1-2 the count to Torres. Ground ball back to the bag. Abreu's throw is low and bobbled by Garcia Parra, and the run is in. It is a 7-run inning. It is 8-5 Cubs. Tony probably could have gotten out the inning by just tagging at the bag. So as Torres reaches on the throwing error, charge to Abreu. Take a look. Here's the ground ball. Look at Jones. She's right there. But Tony goes to first and bounces it. So Abreu will draw the error. The inning is still alive. It is a 7-run inning. No RBI. And here's the pinch hitter, Matt Merton, who started the whole thing with a runner on and 1 out by getting a walk. Merton hitting .283 with a home run, 8 runs batted in. So the Cubs have rolled a 7 and lead the Dodgers 8-5. Interesting too, at the start of the game we were comparing the two teams. The Dodgers 9-4 in 1-run games because of their solid bullpen, and the Cubs 2-10 in 1-run games because their bullpen is 3-11 with 7 blown saves. And what's happened? It's the Dodger bullpen that is lit up. Strike. 0-2 to Matt Merton. Seems like he came up to the plate almost a half hour ago. Well, you're right. Meanwhile, Yancy Brazaban, Jonathan Broxton, deep in thought. 0-2. Still 0-2. So the Cubs have scored 7 times. Dodgers were leading at one time, 1-0, 3-0, 5-0, 5-1. Now Derek Lee feels a lot better about things at second as Ramirez teasing him. Cliff Floyd, happy individual right now. That pitch is fought off by Matt Merton, and it's still 0-2. 8-5 in favor of the Cubs. Forgetting the number of pitches made in this inning, we'll repeat that. 45 pitches made here in the 7th inning by Dodger pitchers. Finally, there it is. Merton strikes out. The inning is over, and the Cubs hang a 7 on the board. The hit parade, one after the other. A good measure the throwing error. Oh yes, Mom singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Her son not quite into it yet, but his day will come. A lot of folks having a good time despite the fact the Cubs rolled a 7 and lead the Dodgers 8-5. the Cubs make several changes. Jack Jones, who had been in center field, moves to right. Angel Pagan will take over in center field. And the new pitcher is Michael Wirtz.
Center fielder, Juan Pierre.
So we're not quite sure how Pagan and Wirtz figure, so we'll have to check and see. But we do know it's 8-5 Cubs. Ball 1 to Juan Pierre. Pierre tonight hit back to the box, had a single in the third inning and another in the fifth. Scored one. A bunt. Out to get it is Barrett and gets him. So a nice play by Michael Barrett. 1 out.
First baseman, number 5.
So now Mike Wirtz, W-U-E-R-T-Z, from Austin, Minnesota. He was an 11th round pick by the Cubs 10 years ago. 28 years old. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. Fastball, slider, changeup. Tries to keep the ball down all the time. Good fielder. 0-1 to Nomar. Last year, Wirtz held left-handers to a 184 average, and right-handers hit just 245 against him. And a fly ball to straightaway center. Angel Pagan is there. So quickly 2 out. After 46 pitches were made by Dodger pitchers in the 7th. The most pitches in an inning we've seen so far this year made by one man, Tom Gorzolani of the Pirates. He made 46 pitches back on April the 22nd against the Dodgers. So tonight, Messrs. Beimel, Brazoban, Broxton, and Cianez made 46 pitches. And now here is Jeff Kent. Walk, 2-run home run, 2-run double. Ball 1. And another drive into deep left center, but Pagan at the wall to make the catch. So Jeff Kent in a groove, but just missed hitting his 2nd of the night. Dodgers out in order, and at the end of 7, 8-5 Chicago. Derek Lowe went 6, allowed 1 earned run, and left the game leading 5-1. Jeff Kent muscled up on a couple, but the Cubs, with a 7-run 7th inning, have turned the tables on the Dodgers and lead 8-5. And Alfonso Soriano singled in the 6th inning, doubled in the 7th, and he's been leading the way in the attack. Of course, you expect great things from Soriano. Remember, he signed that 8-year deal for $136 million. 0-1. See what happened there. I think, yeah, Danley got that a little. It's the 2nd time that Kerwin's been nailed by a foul ball. So again, and Russell Martin gone out, and the ball that's thrown back into play hits Cianez. It's been quite a night for the Dodgers and for Kerwin Danley. Yeah, he's hobbling a little bit. Been hit on both legs. So 0-2 the count to Soriano, hitting .293, 4 home runs, 11 runs batted in. Slice to right. Ethier trying to run it down, can't do it. Base hit. So Soriano was 0 for 2. He had struck out and hit into a double play, and now he has at least a base hit in each of his next 3 at-bats.
Second baseman, number
Single to
7,
center, a
Mark
double to
DeRosa.
left, and a single to right. Cubs now 8 runs on 13 hits. Mark DeRosa had grounded out and walked and flied out, and then he joined the fun in the 7th inning when he doubled in Soriano. Pitch out. Soriano holding on. Soriano was stolen 8 out of 9 when he stole second in the 6th inning. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Brett Tomko begins to loosen up. 8-5 Cubs, top of the 8th. That's a strike. 1-1 to Mark DeRosa. Everyone in the lineup with at least 1 hit, with the exception of the pitcher spot. The paid attendance tonight, good sized crowd on this Memorial weekend, 46,011. 46,011. Soriano has stolen as many as 43 bases. He did that for the Yankees. Last year he had 41 for Washington. And there he goes on a hit and run drive to left. Moving over is Gonzo to pick it off, and Soriano gets back. So DeRosa hits the ball hard but lines out to left.
First baseman,
And the batter will be Derek Lee. Lee had grounded out, hit into a double play, and was a hero in the 6th inning when he doubled in the tying run, and then he got wandering off second base and the Dodgers nailed him. And it looked like he was going to wear the horns, but they really got him off the hook. Soriano going again, and they get him. Soriano not about to argue with Dana DeMuth, but his body language seemed to tell you he thought he was in there. But then again, they all think they're in there. This close, hand on, tag down on the back of the neck, out, awful close. The hand, there's the tag just before the hand got there. So Derek Lee, 2 for 4. Soriano back in the dugout, second time that he's been caught stealing this year, so he's 8 out of 10. 0-2 to Derek Lee. One and 2. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 8th inning, Martin, Gonzalez, and Abreu. One ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. It's been Lowe, Beimel, Brazaban, Broxton, and Cianez. Ball 3. Waiting on deck, Aramis Ramirez, who is 1 for 4. Seven runs on 8 hits in the 7th inning as the Cubs turned it completely around from trailing 5-1 to leading 8-5. 3-2. And popped in the air foul. Garcia-Parra might have a play. The ball is not going to come back. So it's still 3-2. Derek hitting .373, 3 home runs, 27 runs batted in. Now back. By the way, in watching Garciaparra go over to the stands, it reminds us, you know, the Carne Asada Sunday, Garciaparra has teamed up with the Dodgers Dream Foundation and Cacique. It's sold out. The Derek Lee blown away on a good fastball. Cubs fail to score, and we're heading for the bottom of the 8th. Cubs 8, Dodgers 5. A bull, but he just loves to watch it, and he even has a tattoo of a bull, but he doesn't want any part of the rest of it. Well, Bobby now's got that bull by the horns, leading 8-5, and here's Russell Martin. Fastball for a strike. 0-1. Howry. Fastball has dropped down considerably. He used to throw very hard at 97. Now he's around 87 to 92. 1-1. He also has a hard slider, a splitter, and a changeup. Basically a ground ball pitcher, but he does throw a lot of pitches to each hitter, so his pitch count is usually pretty high. 1-1. And ball 2, 2-1. He originally came up to the big leagues after signing with the Giants, came up with the White Sox. He was with the White Sox, the Red Sox. In fact, Grady Little had him at Boston. Then he went to the Indians and the Cubs. Originally a starting pitcher. Foul down the line. 2-2. Howry, the end of November, signed a 3-year deal, so that would put him through next year with the Cubs. For a little while, about 8 years ago, he was the White Sox closer. Then he was a setup man for Keith Folt. See how he's pretty well straight up on the mound. Fastball lined into right. Base hit. Howry is 6'5", and he got into a habit of really dropping down into a crouch. So they finally said to him, hey, you're a big guy, straighten up, throw downhill. But downhill or uphill, Martin singles to right. So he's 2 for 3. And here is Gonzalez, lined out, flied out, struck out. Well, the crowd full of beans. That's a strike. 0-1. In the Western Division, the D-backs beat the Astros 13-3. The Padres held on and beat the Brewers 8-6. But the Rockies turned it around and beat the Giants 5-3. So as far as the National League West is concerned, San Diego could very well catch the Dodgers. They would have the identical record if the Dodgers fail to come back. Arizona would then trail by 1. The Giants would remain 2.5 back. Hit down the line, slicing as she goes, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Luis Gonzalez, hitting .270, 5 home runs, 16 runs batted in. You know, the Dodgers were leading 5-0 and 5-1 at the end of 6 innings. So you might wonder, how many times have the Dodgers lost when they're leading after 6 innings? And the answer, once. The Dodger record when leading after 6, 23-1. And one of the primary reasons, of course, has been the strength of the bullpen, which certainly didn't have it tonight. 2-2. Fastball lined into left center, base hit. Pregame gets it back. So now the Dodgers trying to come back. And again, we mentioned the shortfall as far as the Cubs bullpen is concerned. Piniella knows they are 3-11 and they have blown 7 saves. And the Dodgers now have the potential tying run at the plate. Eight-5 Cubs. Will Ullman, a left-hander, loosening up in the bullpen. Ryan Dempster has 10 saves. Dempster is the closer. But of course, for Piniella, his problem is to get to the closer. $46,011. Trying to shake something loose for the Dodgers after the Cubs threatened to dismantle the ballpark when they had 7 runs on 8 hits in the 7th inning. Tony Abreu flied to center, grounded to short, and doubled to right for his first major league hit. Ball 1. Bobby Howry, 33 years old. He'll be 34 in August. And Tony Abreu waiting. 1-0. Fastball lined into center, base hit. And Martin will stop at third as Pregame gets it in. And the Dodgers with the bases loaded and nobody out. And Andre Ethier coming up. Abreu now is 2 for 4.
Number 16, Andre Ethier.
Down in the bullpen, you have the left-hander Will Ullman, and now the right-hander Angel Guzman beginning to loosen up. The Piniella, after huddling with Larry Rothschild, slowly making the walk out. Bobby Howry has given up a single to Martin, a single to Gonzalez, a single to Abreu, and the bases loaded, nobody out. Olmedo Signs is now coming out on deck, but he's out there with Ethier. Ethier has not left. So we'll see if they bring in Ullman. Will Signs bat for Ethier? And Andre now is walking over towards the dugout, but they're saying to him, no, you stay here. And Signs now walks back towards the dugout, and we'll be back. Left-hander Will Ullman will pitch to pinch hitter Olmedo Signs with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 8th. A wild and woolly game, and the Cubs leading 8-5. Ullman had the Tommy John surgery 5 years ago. He was born in Frankfurt, West Germany. He lives in the Agoura Hills, and he went to school at Pepperdine. Basically, fastball, curve, slider, and change. And Signs hitting .211, hitting for Andre Ethier. Andy LaRoche is out on deck to bat for CNA. 8 runs, 13 hits for the Cubs. 5 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. Check swing, no swing, says Doug Eddings. 1 ball and no strikes to Olmedo Signs. Boy, this crowd is really into this one. 1 ball and no strikes. Check swing again, a look, this time a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Slider in on the hands. So Pinella got an 8-5 lead, but the Dodgers have Martin, Gonzalez, and Abreu all out on the lines. Nobody out. 1-1. One and two. Another slider. Ullman hurt his elbow pitching in the Puerto Rican Winter League 5 years ago, and that resulted in the Tommy John surgery. 1-2 to sign. Infield back in double play depth. Bottom of the 8th, 8-5 Cubs. Fastball whacked foul down the line. That old expression about trying to throw a lamb chop by a wolf, and now Pinella hollering out, hey. And he wants Barrett to go out and talk to Ullman. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Takashi Saito had been warming up. Will Ullman is 29. He'll be 30 in August, and he's been pitching in the big leagues for the Cubs since 2000. He was drafted out of Pepperdine in 1998. All right, 1-2 to Olmedo signs. Martin, Gonzalez, and Abreu out there. Nobody out. Off the plate. 2-2. Ullman last year held left-handers to a 158 average. One reason why they hit for Ethier. Right-handers hit 243 against him. Two balls, 2 strikes. Line drive foul. And I'll tell you one thing, he's got one fastball. Everything else sliders. That was a slider, and he was looking for it. Well, let's see what Michael Barrett pulls out of the deck. 2-2. A handful of cards. Little roller foul, and that was the fastball, and he got it up to 90 on the gun. Will Ullman so far this year 0-1, an ERA of 4 in his 21st game. His strikeout to walk ratio is a little bit better than 2-1. Martin, Gonzalez, and Abreu all at the ready. 2-2. Fastball hit up the middle, base hit. One run is in. They'll go 90 feet at a time. And it's the old story. You can throw sliders all night, but if you try to get a fastball by signs, no way. So Olmedo hits the fastball into center for a hit. Martin scores. Gonzalez to third. Abreu to second. It is now 8-6 Cubs, and Piniella making another sad walk out to the mound. That run is charged to Howery. Angel Guzman, a right-hander, is going to come in from the Cub bullpen. And the Cub bullpen just has been a flat-out mess up to now. And we'll be back. Dodgers trying to get off the floor. They trail 8-6. They have the bases loaded, nobody out. Will Ullman unable to do it. Tried to get a fastball by Signs, and no way. So now he gives way to Angel Guzman, who has certainly not been an Angel. Last year, the league really kicked him around. Left-handers hit .305 with 5 home runs. Right-handers hit .309 with 4 home runs. Guzman from Caracas in Venezuela. Up and down with the Cubs the last couple of years. Angel has a younger brother in the Indians organization. The battle between Olmedo Signs and Will Ullman was something to see. It was an 8-pitch battle won by Signs. Brady Clark is now running for Signs. So Gonzalez, Abreu, and Clark are all out there. And here is Andy LaRoche to face Angel Guzman. Slider gets away. Here comes Gonzalez to score, and it's 8-7 Cubs. We'll see. It's a wild pitch. So not only does Gonzalez score, but everybody else moves up 90. Abreu is now the tying run at third. Clark is at second. Nobody out. Cubs lead 8-7. And LaRoche up there, 1 ball and no strikes, with Rafael Furcal on deck. 1-0. Almost hitting. Ball 2. Angel Guzman, an ERA just under 3. He's been in 8 games, and he has started 3 of the 8. Strikeout to walk ratio almost 4-1. 2-0. Ball 3. The last thing he wants to do is to put LaRoche on, and for Piniella, open-mouthed and stunned. But the bullpen has hit him over the head all year, and it's happening again. 3-0. And ball 4. So Larry Rothschild has gone out to talk to Guzman. So the Cubs sent 12 men to the plate in the 7th inning. They scored 7 runs on 8 hits. So where the Dodgers led 5-1, the Cubs then took an 8-5 lead. Now the Dodgers come back, trailing 8-7, but they have the bases loaded and nobody out. It's been Howery, Ullman, Guzman, and the ever-present Lou Piniella. All right, Larry Rothschild has had a few words with Angel Guzman.
Shortstop, number 15,
Bases loaded. LaRoche at first. Clark at second. Abreu at third. In the inning, Martin singled, Gonzalez singled, Abreu singled to load him up. Signs singled in 1. The wild pitch brought the second one in. Fouled off, 0-1. Rafael hitting .298. He has that 11-game hitting streak, and he is 0 for 4. Boy, what a wild one this is. 8-7 Cubs. Nobody out. Fastball hit into left field. Here comes Abreu to tie it up, and they'll hold Clark at third. The bases remain loaded 8-8, and Pregame has now hit in 12 straight. So for Rich Donnelly, he's acting more like an usher than a third base coach. It's just 90 feet at a time ever since Martin doped up with a single, and Piniella has to be in shock as Guzman now gives up a walk and a base hit. The 3 runs in the inning are charged to Howry. Infield has to play up now for Pierre. Ball 1. So Brady Clark is at third. Andy LaRoche is at second. Rafael Furcal at first. 8-8 in the 8th. Fastball hit to center. Tagging up as Pagan makes the catch is Clark, and he will score, and the Dodgers lead 9-8 as they've scored 4 times here in the 8th inning. That run is charged to Ullman. And for Lou Piniella, it has been an ominous 8th inning. So now Nomar coming up with runners at first and second. Piniella with a gesture with his hands as if to say, what are you going to do? Marmol, Wirtz, Howry, Ullman, Guzman, and down in the pen, Takashi Saito has something to protect. Nomar doubled and walked twice and flied to center. He's 1 for 2. He has LaRoche at second and Furcal at first. And unintentional foul, 0-1. So the Dodgers led 5-0 and 5-1. The Cubs scored 7 to lead 8-5. The Dodgers have come right back with 4 to take a 9-8 lead. Dodgers, of course, are battling to stay alone in first place because San Diego won. Fastball hit down to Asturias, and they're going to get the double play to end the inning. However, the Dodgers come up with a big 4, and at the end of 8, it's the Dodgers 9, the Cubs 8, and in a moment, Takashi Saito. With the Dodgers leading 9-8 as we go to the 9th inning, the music in the background for Takashi Saito, bad to the bone. So Saito, who has converted 38 of his first 40 career saves, that ties him with Eric Gagne for the best percentage in their first 40 opportunities. Saito has converted his last 24 saves going back to last year. That's the 3rd longest active streak. And by the way, Mike Gonzalez and Billy Wagner have 29. But I believe we got a report that Atlanta's Mike Gonzalez will have to have Tommy John surgery. So sooner or later, it would appear as if they all have to pay the price. So Saito will now be pitching to Ramirez, Pagan, and Barrett. Brady Clark is in right field, finishing up for Andre Ethier. And here we go. Ramirez singled his last time up, 1 for 4. He certainly had a big swing on their first pitch. Ramirez 0 for 2 in the past against Saito. We've had 17 runs, 25 hits, and 1 home run, that by Jeff Kemp. Ramirez hitting .292, 11 home runs, 35 runs batted in. And a slider, 0-2. Another thing about Saito, and one reason for his success, his strikeout to walk ratio is, well, it's unbelievable, really. 12-1. 0-2. And a little pop fly, it'll be for Paul. Crowd of 46,011, and boy, did they see a wild one here tonight, and it's not over yet. Tomorrow afternoon, it'll be Carlos Zambrano and Mark Hendrickson. Sunday afternoon, Rich Hill and Randy Wolf. And now the batter is Angel Pagan, who finishes up in center field. And ball 1. Pagan is from Puerto Rico, originally signed by the Mets. He loved boxing. Used to box a lot. In fact, he boxed Felix Trinidad, but baseball is his sport. He grew up with Trinidad. He's 6'1" and 180. Pagan will be 26 in July. Came up to the Cubs briefly last year. 2-1. You know how they carefully watch every player in his performance. Angel Pagan is the first player ever to hit his first 2 major league home runs on his birthday, July 2nd. Last year. Right. Saito with 1 out in the 9th. Dodgers trying to hold on to a 9-8 lead. Slider, strike 3. So the Cubs now down to their last out in the person of Michael Barrett. Out there, and then it just catches the outside corner. You don't see the break on the slider on television, but slider it was. Barrett has struck out twice and singled twice. Fastball hit in the air to right field. Brady Clark is there, and the Dodgers have won it 9-8. Well, we didn't realize it earlier. We talked about it might be the battle of the bullpen. Sure enough, a 1-run game. The Dodgers are now 10-4 in 1-run games. The Cubs are 2-11. And it usually boils down in 1-run games to the bullpen. And sure enough, Saito got a save. The pen for the Cubs is 3-12. And the players of the game would be all those players that were involved in the 8th inning when the Dodgers scored 4 and turned it around. So San Diego wins, but the Dodgers come back with a big finish of their own and remain 1 game in front of San Diego. The Dodgers 9 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors. The Cubs 8 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. Rudy Cianis was the pitcher of record, so he'll pick up the victory. Saito, meanwhile, retired the side on 9 pitches. So that'll do it for tonight. Once again, the final score: Dodgers 9,